Dr. Layola here, welcoming you back to our class, DCD200, the new online social distancing edition. I hope that you are all doing as well as can be, given this kind of abrupt change to our lives and our livelihoods and communities. Obviously, none of us expected to be online at this stage, but here we are. So this is just a quick video to walk you through some of the policy changes, some things that you can do, some ways to contact me, and then of course our new Moodle site, just to get everybody located on the same page and ready to go to make this semester close out successfully. So I'm going to start with just a summary of some of the big changes that I've made policy-wise to the syllabus and to how this class is going to run. So first, we have 3 more kind of big assignments, major assignments from the syllabus, and those are the distant reading report, an e-poem, or like a little interactive kind of text poem thing, and a Twitter bot. So I know this sounds like a lot of coding and a lot of stuff to do, but the distant reading report is actually, that's probably the biggest one. And we have a good amount of time for that. The e-poem and the Twitter bot are a little bit smaller projects, and these tend to be the most fun and the things that students like the most. So I did purposefully design this class so we ended it with the like the best things. So I hope that that's still the case and helps give some comfort and, if not, a little fun at the end of this rough semester. Okay, so besides that, work is now going to be due on a weekly basis. So that's what it means to work asynchronously, is that you will all work at your own pace over the course of a week. So every week I will post assignments and work that you should complete, and you'll have till the end of that week to complete it. Our week is going to end Wednesdays at 11:59 p.m. That was the majority vote on the survey for what's the best day to set our week's end. So that's when it's going to be. This is going to be a little bit funky for the distant reading unit, which officially starts today, Monday, but none of that work will be due until next Wednesday, April 1st at 11:59 p.m. So for this one, you get a little kind of 9 or 10 day week instead of 7-day. But after this unit, our work will be on a Wednesday weekly cycle. Okay, so again, that's Wednesdays, work is due for this class, and then new content will begin Thursdays, and that's how our weeks will run. Okay, so since we don't get to meet in class and have any kind of face-to-face real-time discussion, we're going to replace that in-class learning with the following things. First, you'll have readings on different topics that we're addressing in this particular moment, and some examples to look at. Again, since we have kind of our fun unit near the end with the e-poetry and the Twitter bots, that stuff is going to be like not video games, but kind of interactive projects online that are a little bit more fun than just your basic essay or article to read. There will be some of that, but most of it will be engaging with digital content in interesting ways. So you'll have some kind of readings. You'll also have a video lecture from me, which will include some small kind of participation check assignments that really just confirm your understanding of the content and that you're really kind of checking into and engaging with the material. Those will take the place of that participation grade in on the syllabus. Okay, so that's how you get those kinds of points. And then these video lectures will also include tutorials for all of the tools that you're using. So the next one that you'll see coming from me on distant reading is going to really focus on getting you all working with Voyant, which is the tool that we'll be using there. You don't have to worry if you've never heard of that tool before. I'll get you guys going there with a video lecture that's coming later this week. All right, then the next major change is that the DH presentations, which you all have 2, right, over the course of the semester, one on the book and one on a digital project, those are now going to be due via video recording. I want to be clear that doing a screen recording of a PowerPoint and just talking in the corner is perfectly fine for these. Okay, we did not do any kind of video work or video design in this class, so I don't at all expect you to produce like an amazing viral sensation YouTube video. Certainly, if you have that kind of skill set and want to work in that medium, you are welcome to. But again, simply recording a PowerPoint is fine. Okay, so don't stress yourself out too much about video expertise. Okay. The videos, once you make them, will be posted as links to the DH Presentations Forum on our Moodle site. So when I say as a link, that means that you will need to upload them to YouTube or Vimeo, Google Drive, Microsoft Drive, whatever, and post them there. And that is just to help keep the data that our site's pulling, to keep that low so that it doesn't take so long to load. If we load up a bunch of raw video files, it's going to really bog down our site. So that's to kind of help make sure that this isn't this isn't taxing everybody's data or your Wi-Fi's. Since if you're like me, you're on a suddenly significantly slower home Wi-Fi rather than the campus Wi-Fi. So as I said, those are going to be video recordings that you will post. These are a little bit funky in that they are all due by April 22nd at 11:59 p.m. So that's like the absolute deadline for getting these in. But I really, really want to encourage you all to do them as we go throughout these next few weeks, rather than wait until that time. Really try to keep the schedule that you signed up for your face-to-face presentations so that you're not overwhelmed at the end of the semester. Of course, time is different now and things are different, so that's why you have this long block of time to get those in. But I promise you'll thank yourself at the end if you try and get those done before that April 22nd date. Okay, and then the last point that I want to remind you all of here, just make here, is that every week I'm going to check in with you all just to make sure that things are running well. And I'm going to do this via the Moodle surveys. And these are not required for you to fill out. They're entirely optional, but it's just a way for me to kind of keep communication open, make sure everything's working for you, that you're still kind of feeling supported and successful in our online learning environment. Again, you don't have to respond to these, but even if you just say, hey, everything's good, no problems here, that's really good for me to know. Okay, so I hope that you will take the time to do those. As I said, those will be weekly. So again, every Wednesday, those will be posted to the survey section of our new Moodle site. And that's just a way for me to check in with you regularly about how things are going. Okay, so the next things that I want to address here are how to get in touch with me. So certainly one of the challenges of going asynchronous and going remote is that we don't get to see each other every Tuesday and Thursday, so you don't have that regular FaceTime with me. So there are 5 ways that you can get in touch with me. First and most kind of immediate is email, right? So my email address is posted to Moodle. You can also use the quick mail block on Moodle. But that's kind of your easiest, most consistent way to get in touch with me. I get emails from Coastal right to my phone, so I'm always alerted when something comes in. Do note, though, that even though I receive them regularly, I can't always respond to them immediately. So if something is urgent and you need an immediate response, please indicate that in the subject line. Okay, your second option is through the Teams chat, which I've set up on our Microsoft Teams workspace. So Microsoft Teams is just another workspace for kind of keeping in touch, and it is kind of like a big group chat, like a chat room kind of thing, where you can do kind of synchronous text-based communication with me and your classmates. That's a very informal space, so if you just have a quick question, that's a great place to post it. And that's another one that I have on my phone and that I get regular notifications about. It's also one that I would strongly recommend that you download if you're somebody working from your phone or you tend to engage more with content from your phone than on your laptop. The Microsoft Teams app is a much more streamlined mobile phone kind of interface and environment than the Moodle app, or even like your basic email app. So that's Microsoft Teams. You all have access to that via your Coastal login. And I've already set us up a team workspace for DCD200. All right, your third way to reach me is through virtual office hours. And this is a synchronous face-to-face video chat between me and anybody else who drops into the call. For our class, those will take place every Tuesday from 2 to 4 p.m. And those will be conducted through Microsoft Teams. So the way that that will run is I will be online in a video kind of workspace, and you can drop in at any point and get some face-to-face real-time conversation with me. Again, those are Tuesdays from 2 to 4 p.m. via Microsoft Teams for our class. Those are entirely optional again, but if you want to kind of touch base that way, that's available to you. The fourth way you can contact me is through individual meetings, which can also be virtual face-to-face video chats. Those, though, will be by request, and I'll do my best to accommodate any of your requests, but as with everything, the more forewarning I have, the more likely it is that I can accommodate what you need. So I do ask that you give me at least a day of warning before that meeting. But of course, sometimes things might happen. And if it's like an emergency situation, again, just indicate that in the email subject line when you request that meeting. And then your final mode of getting in touch with me is just by posting on the forums on Moodle. Those, again, I'm subscribed to them, so I get an email anytime somebody posts. So that's another way that you can, if you have, again, general questions, things you just want some clarification about, that's where you can go. But do keep in mind that those forums are public, so it's not a good space to talk to me about like your grades, your performance, or the space to request a individual meeting. An individual meeting request should be through email, since that's not really a public thing. Okay, so now we're going to move to our new Moodle site, and I'm going to walk you through just a few things to make sure that everybody knows where they can find stuff and you all understand how I've set up and organized that space. Okay, so here we are at our new Moodle site, and you will notice that it's had a little bit of some cosmetic redesign, a bit of a facelift. That's for a couple of reasons, but one, to give you some information, and two, to make it really clear immediately and visually that this is a different space than what we were working with previously. So this is, in other words, the social distancing edition for the remainder of the semester. So a few things quickly to just point out to you is that first, I've updated my information here as to where you can find me, when you can find me, and how our week works, right? So again, we are on a weekly basis, working at your own schedule, where all weeks end Wednesdays at 11:59 p.m. I've also added this block of content, which is our online policy, and just lays out some basic rules and policies for operating online. So again, a lot of this information is located other places, but it's right here in the middle of our site so that you can also find it there. One thing that I will point out to you is that item number 7, you'll see, contains a link to the Netiquette guidelines. This is just a document that lays out rules for engaging in our online space. So everything from like being respectful to your peers, not trolling or flaming anyone. Not that I expect that to happen, but it's always worth kind of laying that out. So if you do want to look at that, that is linked for you there, and I do expect everybody to uphold those guidelines in all of the interactions that you have on our workspace. So this is a fairly long sticky scroll. So I also want to point out to you that just before that, I've added this anchor tag so you can jump immediately to your content blocks. So if you don't want to keep scrolling forever, that's an option to you. And of course, you also have these links here on the left menu. In any case, in our content blocks, I'm just going to point out a few things. So you'll notice that these are basically the same as they were when we were working face-to-face. I've just added a few other things. They're just a bit more robust to kind of really support this online learning. So first, in the syllabus and schedule folder, you will find an updated schedule for COVID-19. This includes the entire new course schedule sketched out to the end of the semester, and also an overview of changes in policies. So I'm not going to create a new policy document. Rather, all this will be in this COVID-19 updated document. In the announcements block, you will see that I've added 2 forums. First, the digital culture in the time of COVID-19 forum, which you all already posted to for the Moodle stress test. I've created different threads there so that if you want to engage with things, this will be kind of our primary general purpose forum for anything related to this class. So you can look through there. I just ask that you be cognizant of replying to those threads, just again to keep that conversational space organized. The DH presentations forum, though, is where you will post your video recordings of your DH presentations. So when you do your presentation of your book or your digital space, that's where it'll go so that everybody can engage with it just as they would in a face-to-face class. And I do ask that those of you that are not posting presentations take some time to actually watch those videos that your peers have put together, just as you would pay attention to the presentation in real time if we were in class. But that's where you can find those and also where your peers will post them. Okay, the announcements forum, just as a reminder, is where I will communicate with you all primarily. Everyone in this class is force subscribed to this forum, which means that you will get a coastal email every time I post, whether you want to or not. So that's, again, just to make sure that you're getting all of my communications and all of my information. Okay, the biggest change is to the weekly modules block. Okay, so in the weekly modules block, we just have this one book, and this book is going to take the space of our in-class learning space. So if you open that, you will find that this goes in chronological order by weeks of the semester, and chapter 9 is our first online week, or today, right? So if you open that, you'll see you've got a statement about the week as such, and then a schedule with tasks for what you should do and my suggestion for pacing yourself to get all of this work done. So I'm not going to read that to you. You can see that that's there, but that's just a general overview of scheduling that I recommend. But again, just remember that nothing is due until the end of this kind of week, which is a long week, right? So Wednesday, April 4th at 11:59 p.m. is when all of this stuff is due, okay? So you'll notice that on the day 1 class option, it says watch the distant reading review video lecture and intro to Voyant. This will be in a subchapter, which will be located here underneath chapter 9. It'll be like chapter 9.1. It's not created yet because I haven't created that content, but that's where you'll be able to find it. So again, those weekly modules is where you can find everything related to learning for the class, links to the readings, links to videos to watch, links to assignments, and so on. Okay, of course, those links can only exist if they're already on the site somewhere. So as we did before, readings and other texts that you should look at will also be under the readings block. Assignments, where you'll submit them and also receive your feedback, is in the assignments block. You can see that I've actually added all the assignments we have through the rest of the semester, though the specific details of the assignments are not yet there, right? These are just placeholders for the calendar, and so that you can see that as an overview. The resources block is going to hopefully be a help to you. So you can see our Netiquette guidelines are there. As well, I've added this book for resources for effective online learning. So a number of you indicated in the survey that you weren't particularly confident in your ability to learn well online. So these are just some resources that I've collected that I hope will be helpful for you as you make this transition through the rest of the semester. This block will also, I'll continue to populate things here. A resource for video making, for instance, will be up there later today, and some other things as we go along. So this is your resources block. And then finally, those weekly surveys that I mentioned are all going to be housed in the surveys and feedback block. So you can notice already there's the 2 that you've gotten so far. First, the stress test survey, and then the policy changes feedback survey. So thanks again to all of you that have checked in those spaces. That's where they are located, and that's where every week there will be a new survey from me just to check in. Okay, so then in terms of time management, one final thing that I'll draw your attention to is that our course calendar is completely filled out with everything going on from now till the end of the semester. Due dates, meeting times, everything is there. So at this point, if you want to export it to iCal or Google Calendar or write it down in a paper calendar, now would be a great time to do that because it is up to date. And that'll help you organize your content and get everything kind of ready and good to go for the rest of the semester. Okay, so some other things that you can do at this point are to download the Microsoft Teams app to your phones so that you can get communications there, especially if you're used to working on your phone. Get the Outlook app so that you get coastal email to your phone, right? And you don't miss any of those communications. And check out those resources for learning online if you've never, especially if you've never done it before, or if you've had a bad experience. Okay, so I'm doing everything on my end that I can to keep us organized and up to date and make this a successful close to the semester. And I hope that you will do the same. Okay, so thanks so much for this. I will be in touch with you again soon. You can look for that distant reading lecture to come up at the latest by the end of the day tomorrow. And we will be in touch soon.